So, how India securing its maritime borders? What is the significance of maritime security for India? Hello and welcome. This is Basudev. In this video, we are going to discuss how India securing its maritime borders, and what is the challenges and opportunities, and how to overcome these challenges. We discuss all such things in this video. So let's get started. So India has a largest coastline over 7,000 km, which makes it vulnerable to various threats such as piracy, terrorism, smuggling, illegal fishing, and environmental degradation. India needs to protect its coastal and the offshore assets such as oil and gas installations, fishing grounds, and ports from these threats. India's economy largely depends on sea, as over 7% of its trade value and nearly 95% trade volume is carried by the sea. India also imports most of its energy needs from the sea, especially from Gulf region. Therefore, India needs to ensure the security and the freedom of navigation of sea lanes and the sea lanes of communication in the Indian Ocean and the beyond, which are vital for its economic growth and the energy security. India has a strategic interest in the Indian Ocean region, which is home to the many friendly and the cooperative countries as well as some potential adversaries. India has a historical and cultural and diasporic ties with many countries in the Indian Ocean region and also invest in their development and the security. The challenges in maritime domain. The hard security challenges. Asymmetrical tactics. The use of asymmetrical tactics as observed in Ukraine's actions against Russia in Black Sea or China's deployment of maritime militias in the South China Sea introduces a new dimension of maritime security. This involves unconventional and unexpected methods that may not follow traditional military strategies. Grey zone warfare. The use of grey zone tactics, which fall between the conventional and unconventional methods, presents challenges in the responding effectively, as these tactics often exploit the legal policy ambiguities. Such tactics can include covert operations and actions below the threshold of open conflict. Example, violation of special economic zone by the countries like USA. Combat drones. The utilization of combat drones adds a new dimension to maritime operation, enabling states and the non-state actors to conduct reconnaissance, surveillance, and potentially carry out attacks. Land attack missiles. The deployment of land attack missiles at sea poses a direct threat to maritime security. These include the use of missiles that can target land-based facilities from maritime platforms, challenging traditional notions of sea-based threats. Unconventional security threats. Illegal fishing. Maritime security is threatened by illegal fishing activities which can deplete maritime resources and undermine the livelihoods of coastal communities. Example, fishing in the Indian waters by Sri Lankan fishermen. Natural disasters. The increasing frequency of intensity of natural disasters in the maritime domain, such as cyclones and tsunamis, poses significant challenges to the maritime security and the emergency response efforts. Maritime pollution. Pollution, including oil spills, plastic waste, poses environmental and economic threats to the maritime domain. The human and drug trafficking. Illicit activities like human and drug trafficking, often carried out through maritime routes, contribute to insecurity in the maritime domain. Climate change impact. Rising sea levels, climate change, and the related impacts disproportionately affect less developed states, making them more vulnerable to environmental changes and the extreme weather events. Zero-sum competition in the Indo-Pacific. The perceived zero-sum competition among powerful nations in the Indo-Pacific is identified as a threat, particularly for the developing world. The competition may divert attention and resources away from addressing the security concerns of the littoral states in Asia, Africa, and the South Pacific. Zero-sum competition in the Indo-Pacific is term refers to idea that the interests and the actions of US and China in the region are more mutually exclusive and compatible, and that any gain for the one side a loss for other. This perspective assumes that the Indo-Pacific is a zero-sum game where the two powers are locked in the rivalry for the influence, resources, and the security. Challenges in the maritime governance: lack of coordination. Littoral states in Asia and Africa face challenges in the coordinating their efforts to combat maritime threats. Unequal law enforcement capabilities, varying security priorities hinder effective collaboration. That is, Asian countries often show reluctance to call out China's hegemonial actions in South China Sea. Reluctance to cooperate. Some littoral countries resist maritime cooperation with foreign agencies, aiming to reduce reliance on external assistance. This reluctance can impede the development of the comprehensive and the coordinated security measures. Information sharing challenges. While there is a willingness to share information, there are limitations in the extent of collaboration, with states often sharing only the minimum required for the common security goals. Example, even though India and the USA have signed several agreements on information, but still there are reluctance to information sharing due to some security and the sovereignty. Are the initiative taken by India to enhance maritime security? Capacity augmentation of maritime security agencies. This includes the modernization and expansion of Indian Navy, Coast Guard, and Marine Police to enhance their capabilities for surveillance and patrol of nations' maritime zones. It also involves the acquisition of advanced platforms, systems, and equipment such as aircraft carriers, submarines, frigates, helicopters, radars, and satellites. Enhanced technical surveillance of coastal and offshore areas. This includes the implementation of various projects and schemes such as Coastal Surveillance Network and National Command Control Communication and Intelligence Network, the National Automatic Identification System, and National Maritime Domain Awareness Project. This aims to provide a comprehensive and integrated picture of maritime domain and enable timely detection and response to any threats or incidents. Establishment of mechanisms for interagency coordination. This includes the creation of various bodies and communities such as National Committee for Strengthening Maritime and Coastal Security, the National Maritime Security Coordinator, the Joint Operations Centers, and Coastal Security Operations Centers. These aim to facilitate effective coordination and information sharing among various stakeholders involving in maritime security such as Navy, Coast Guard, Customs, Intelligence, Fisheries, and Ports. Integration of fishing and coastal communities. This includes the implementation of various measures such as issuance of biometric identity cards, the installation of transponders and distress alert transmitters, the conduct of community awareness and education programs, and provision of livelihood and welfare schemes. These aim to involve the fishing and coastal communities in the maritime security framework and they enhance their security and well-being. What measures can be taken to overcome these challenges? So, enhancing maritime security cooperation among like-minded countries through bilateral, trilateral, or multilateral mechanisms such as quadrilateral security dialogue Quad, the Indian Ocean Rim Association IORA, and Asian Regional Forum ARF. Such cooperation can include information sharing, joint exercises, capacity building, interoperability, and the coordination of responses to common threats. Developing a common code conduct, a set of norms and rules for the maritime domains based on principles of international law, especially the United Nations Convention or Law of Sea (UN clause). Such code of conduct can help to prevent and manage disputes, reduce tensions, and promote confidence building measures among the maritime actors, strengthening the role and capabilities of coast guards and their maritime law enforcement agencies, as they are often the first responder to the non-conventional threats such as piracy, smuggling, trafficking, and pollution. They can also play a vital role in enhancing maritime domain awareness, safeguarding the sovereignty and the rights of coastal states, and the providing humanitarian assistance and disaster relief, addressing the root cause and the drivers of non-conventional threats such as poverty, inequality, corruption, governance, and climate change through substance sustainable development, regional integration, and multi